As-salaam wa-alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Year 3 of the 17 Verses podcast. I'm your host, Maher Haq. In this podcast, we take a small selection from the Quran every day and recite it to you in plain English, so you can get a small slice of God's Word while you go about your day. By averaging 17 verses per day, we're able to break the Quran down into manageable pieces and finish it in 1 year. If you enjoyed the podcast, please help spread the word. Tell your friends and family, subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher, and write us a review. Today's selection is from Surah 43, Az-Zukhruf, or the Golden Adornments, verses 57 through 67. These verses talk of Prophet Isa, or Jesus, and how he was only a mortal man, and serves as a harbinger of the end times. Tafseer for this selection concerns the view of Jesus as Son of God, or God, in early Christianity and in Arabia, and his role in the end times. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. When Mary's son Jesus is quoted as an example, your people raise a clamor at it and say, "Are our gods better, or is he?" They cite this to you to merely provoke you. They are but a quarrelsome people. Jesus was no more than a mortal, whom we favored and made an example to the children of Israel. Had it been our will, we could create angels for you to succeed you in the earth. Jesus is, in fact, a sign for the coming of the hour of doom. Therefore, have no doubt about its coming. Follow me. This is the right way. Let not Shaitan or Satan mislead you, for he is your open enemy. When Jesus came with clear signs, he stated, "I have brought you wisdom, and come to clarify some of those things about which you have disputes. So fear God and obey me. Surely it is God who is my Lord and your Lord, so worship him. This is the right way." In spite of these teachings, the factions disagreed among themselves, so woe to the wrongdoers from the punishment of a painful day. Are they waiting for the hour of doom, that it should come on them all of a sudden without warning? On that day, even friends will become enemies to one another, with the exception of the righteous people. Ameen. Now, concerning the view of Jesus as a God or Son of God in early Christianity and in Arabia, in verses 57 through 59. Quote, Jesus was a man and a prophet to the children of Israel, though his own received him not. Some of the churches that were founded after him worshipped him as God and as the Son of God, as do the Trinitarian churches to the present day. The Orthodox churches did so in the time of the Holy Prophet. When the doctrine of unity was renewed and the false worship of others besides Allah was strictly prohibited, all false gods were condemned. The pagan Arabs looked upon Jesus as being in the same category as their false gods, and could not see why a foreign cult or a foreign god, as they viewed him, should be considered better than their own gods or idols. There was no substance in this, but merely mockery and verbal quibbling. Jesus was one of the greater prophets. He was not a god, nor was he responsible for the quibbling subtleties of the Athanasian Creed. Unquote. Lastly, concerning Jesus' role in the end times in verse 61. Quote, this is understood to refer to the second coming of Jesus in the last days before the resurrection, when he will destroy the false doctrines that pass under his name, and prepare the way for the universal acceptance of Islam, the gospel of unity and peace, the straight way of the Quran. Unquote. Thank you. This concludes today's episode of the 17 Verses podcast. I hope that this selection helps increase your understanding of the Holy Quran just a little bit. If you like the podcast, you can subscribe in iTunes or Stitcher and write us a review. Or you can grab the RSS feed and put it into your own podcast app. The show notes, including a text version of this episode, can be found by going to 17verses.com. That's the numbers 17, VERSES.com. Thank you, and be well.